Welcome to my complete beginner-friendly guide on how to find the guitar which is right for you. In this video I'll go over the 3 main factors that you should consider when looking to buy your first guitar, and then at the end I'll give you a few recommendations for really good quality but inexpensive guitars that you can check out if you're interested. As always, let's get straight to it. So to start off with, perhaps the most significant factor in determining what guitar you buy is the price. So now if you're a beginner, you probably have some kind of budget. Now whilst I wouldn't recommend buying a really expensive guitar, at the same time you want to avoid the really cheap versions, like under £100 or dollars. It's probably not great quality, and if it's a bad quality guitar then it's going to be harder to play, more painful to play, and you'll probably quit anyway because it's a terrible guitar. But on the other hand, the more expensive the guitar, obviously the better quality will be in general, and it will sound nicer and be easier to play. So try and find a middle ground of, and it depends on your budget, but anywhere between 100 and 500, although 500 is on the top end pounds, and I think that'll be a good price for you. And if you stay till the end, I'll tell you where you can go about finding some of these good quality but inexpensive guitars. Now the second factor that you should consider when buying a guitar is the style of it, because the shape and material of the guitar will influence how it sounds and the type of music that you can play with it. Now to just go over the obvious styles, so you have the electric guitar, electroacoustic, acoustic or a nylon guitar, and that will play a role in the type of music that you can play. Obviously if you get an electric you'll play more rock music and riffs, and you might want an electric if you want to perform in the future because you can plug it into an amp so it's louder. But on the other hand, if you have a nylon or a classical guitar, you're more likely to play classical music, eh? And also I would add that an electric and a classical could be easier to learn on, for the reason that the electric has a lower action and generally lighter strings, so that means you don't have to press as hard and it doesn't hurt your fingers as much to start off with. And the same thing for the nylon, because that's plastic, the strings, rather than steel, so they'll be softer on your fingers, meaning you can practice for longer with less pain. Now I would say, whilst you can get an electric or a nylon to make it easier to learn, if your end goal is an acoustic guitar, I would perhaps go straight for the acoustic guitar and just learn it on this first. It may be slightly harder, but ultimately you don't have to buy 2 guitars, so that's just something to think about. So now to just go a little deeper into the style of the guitar and how it would influence your decision, we can consider the shape of the guitar. So here I have a cutaway, which means that this bit here is cut out, meaning it's easier for me to reach the higher notes. So you could think about a cutaway if you wanted to play fingerstyle, because quite often you'll use these higher notes. So this just makes it easier to get to them. Of course, you don't need it, but it's just something to think about. Now, just some other body shapes to mention. You've got a dreadnought. I'll put a picture there. And dreadnoughts are generally bigger bodies, so maybe not the best option if you're quite small. But a dreadnought, I'd say, is more suited for strumming, and it gives a louder sound and more boomy. You get more of the bass tones, which is again good for strumming. But then you've also got some smaller models such as the parlor or the orchestra model or the OM model, and I'd say these are more suited to fingerstyle playing because you can have more accuracy and precision in the notes that you can play, but whilst it does produce a smaller and quieter sound, it's a more crisp and clearer sound. And now another factor in terms of the guitar's build is the wood type. Now generally speaking, the brighter the colour of the wood, the brighter the sound it produces, so it's more crisp and clearer. But then on the other hand, you can have a darker colour, and that will produce a softer or more mellow tone with a little less clarity, but at the same time it's more gentle. And now the last factor that I'll mention in relation to the style of guitar itself are the strings you use. So then when it comes to the strings, whilst you might not be able to choose the strings you have on the guitar when you buy it, you can always change them later. So thicker strings, I'd say, are more suited for strumming. They can endure more force, and that's also why they're good for percussion. And then on the other hand, you can have lighter strings, which will obviously produce a softer tone, but I think are also good for fingerstyle because you can have more precision again and more control over the notes. Now, the third and final factor that you should definitely consider when looking at which guitar to buy is your interest. Which guitar will you actually want to play? Because it's all well and good having a guitar which is in theory perfectly set up to the style you want to play, but if you don't actually like it or enjoy playing it, then you'll have so much less motivation to actually learn. Now, also bear in mind that your playing style will most likely change over time, so avoid getting a guitar which is highly specialised but which lacks the versatility for exploring other styles of music. Now, if you are looking for some inexpensive but really good quality guitars, then I would recommend checking out my gear review playlist, where I go over some of the most budget-friendly but really good quality brands. Again, I have no affiliation with these guys anymore. I've just done some reviews on them and they're my thoughts and opinions on them. So there you go, I really hope you found all of this useful. So just remember, when you're thinking about buying a guitar, think about the price, think about the style that you're looking for, and then also don't forget to think about what you'll actually enjoy playing. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.